everybody, it's Kia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we would go ahead and go through the August budget. We do have a few things coming up this month, and we've really tried to be more intentional with setting up our budget this month, knowing that we have some things coming up, as well as just trying to figure out what our goals are going to be for the month. The last 2 months have really just been trying to track and see kind of where our spending was going, get a handle on just trying to create the budget and just trying to follow it through for the month and things like that. But this month I really want to start setting some goals and hopefully start really seeing some more progress. So if you are new to my channel, we are on a debt-free journey. We went ahead and did a new debt confession video in May. And this is the year that we've decided that we're really going to dive in and we're going to be serious about getting out of debt. We've actually been trying to get out of debt for a couple of years now. We've increased our income and we were able to pay off some of our existing things that we had when we originally started in 2018. But now we're trying to clean up the rest of it, as well as some of the new things that kind of popped up along the way. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of our backstory. As you can tell, I have already printed out the budget and filled it in. I really didn't want to waste too much of your time while I was trying to go through and figure everything out for the month. So I did go ahead and fill it in, and if you did wonder where I got my printables, I have gotten a couple questions from that. I actually made these because I couldn't find anything that had enough room for me. A lot of them are one-page budget setups and things like that, and as you can tell, our debt takes up almost a whole page all by itself. So I ended up creating my own printable. I have like a little set that I like to print out each month that has our paycheck tracker and things like that. And because of the comments that I've had, I went ahead and uploaded it to Etsy. So if you would like to check these out, I do have them on there available if you are interested, and I will link the shop down in the description below. But let's go ahead and dive in. I will zoom you in so you can see everything going on. We did make a couple goals this month, and there's just a few things that I need to start watching out for. And then we do have a few things that are going to be coming up this month that I know that we need to deal with. So let's go ahead and zoom in and we will dive into this budget. Alrighty, so I went ahead and I pushed the other page off to the side. That way we can focus on this one. But I do have my notes section over here. I have little reminders. I hadn't been budgeting for my husband's monthly prescriptions, and so that's something that we just kind of cash flow as it comes through. So I did make a reminder last month that I needed a budget for that. The other thing that I need to watch out for this month is our auto insurance. I am trying to get it to where we have all of our bills come out of our bill pay account. We have a separate account that we use for paying bills, and then we have a spending account. We have tried the cash envelope method in the past, like a long time ago when we got married, and then in 2018 when we decided to start our debt-free journey, we had tried it a little bit then. But because we do like grocery pickup, and other than that, we really try not to spend a whole lot, although I think Amazon gets more of my money than I really want them to. We really try not to spend a whole lot, and so we don't really have a lot of opportunities to use cash. So we are trying to do a cashless budget, I guess. Not a cash envelope budget, but just a all debit card checking account budget. I don't know what you would even call that, but that is what we're trying to do. So we do have two separate checking accounts that I manage for our bills and our spending, and then we have recently opened up a third checking account specifically for my husband. We don't have a whole lot of room for unnecessary spending and things like that, although it seems to work its way into our finances every month. So we are just now kind of easing into setting aside a little bit of money for fun money, and then that way hopefully we won't be overspending in other areas. So that is something a little new this month. But that's kind of how we track our expenses. I am tracking everything here on my paper budget, and then I have always used a computer program. It just makes me feel comfortable. I guess it's my little crutch. I have a really hard time just diving into the monthly budget because I like to be able to just quickly search for things when I need to, things like that. So we have switched from using Quicken to YNAB, and I am loving YNAB. We've been officially using it for more than a month, and I absolutely love it. So I have gone through and figured out what our income and our expenses are going to be. In YNAB, I do track it on a paycheck by paycheck budget, but I did try to go through and as close as I could forecast what we think is going to happen for the month. So because of that and our two different checking accounts, when I made the switch for our auto insurance to come out of the bill pay account, I did it online, and apparently it messed up the billing cycle. It turned us into a quarterly payer, and I really want to be a monthly payer. And so this is just a reminder to make sure that I watch out to make sure that the payment is coming out of the bank, and if it doesn't, then I need to call my insurance agent to see what we need to do to get it set up again, because I did it online and he thinks that it's going to work this time, but if not, then he'll have to do it on his end. The other reminder that I wanted to make is student loans. I need to start watching out for those. I want to say they're supposed to come due in September, but maybe not until October. So I should probably log into the accounts to see when they're going to come due. We are only paying on one student loan right now, but we have 3 different accounts that we usually pay on. So this is just a reminder that I need to check in with that. The other thing that we have going on is I did want to set in some firm goals this month of things that we wanted to pay off. We have been focusing on our Capital One Visa account. We got this account earlier on this year, and we were able to do a balance transfer onto the account, and it has been interest-free and will be interest-free until October. So we have been trying to get this thing paid off before the interest-free period ends. And we were so close at the end of the month, and then we had some unexpected things pop up. So this month for sure, I'm determined that we're going to get this thing paid off. The next thing that I have, and I should have labeled it a Firm 4 because that's how I normally track it, is we have an Affirm loan. We do homeschool our children, and because we both work full-time, some of the homeschool programs that I use are streaming-based, video-based, or just they run off of the computer in general. So we have been upgrading the kids' computers kind of one by one. And this is for my older daughter, and I would like to get it paid off this month. The next thing that I want to do is we should have a little bit of extra money left over to work on our emergency fund. We don't have a fully established emergency fund yet. I have $500 in a savings account, and I would like to really get it up to $1,000. When we had the issue with the dogs sneaking out, and we decided that we needed to go ahead and get an electric fence to put around our fence, so we put it in as like a perimeter. That ended up being more than what I had in my emergency fund. So that was really, really sad. But I didn't want to pull it from the emergency fund because it would have depleted the whole thing. And so we're really just trying to cash flow it and get things paid off. And so our next focus is going to be really trying to get that emergency fund up to a full $1,000. We are trying to pay off as much debt as we can. I'm focusing on the lower debt with the highest payments. That way we can ease our cash flow a little bit so that we can adjust our budget so that then we can maintain our budget and get away from charging on the cards. And then that way too we can establish sinking funds and be prepared when things pop up. So that is one thing I'm trying to do, is really establish an emergency fund. The first part of the month was a little crazy. We're also going to go through and see if maybe I can sell anything on the Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or things like that, on things that are just kind of hanging around the house that we're not using. So I'm hoping maybe we can go over that a little bit, but we're really just going to have to see, because I've still been working crazy hours at work and deadline's coming next month. So I imagine that my hours are just going to kind of go up until we get through the September 15th deadline. So these are the 3 goals that I really want to focus on for the month. I am on salary, so my income's pretty easy to estimate. I usually get $18.52 or something like that every 2 weeks unless I get a bonus. I got a bonus a couple paydays ago, so I don't think I'm going to get a bonus this month. My husband, however, is paid hourly, and at the moment they have him capped at 40 hours a week. So I'm not really sure exactly what his lowest budget paycheck is going to be because he gets paid bi-monthly. So I was trying to kind of look at the calendar to see what days were going to be included on this pay period. And so I am going to guesstimate $1,400 as a baseline. And because I didn't get to start working on my August budget until we had already received his paycheck on the 1st, I already know that his first payday was for $1,470. So that's what I did for his budget. The first one, $1,470, and the next one for $1,400. And I think that that will be still low enough that if we have a little bit of extra, great. But if not, we're still pretty close to what we originally thought it was going to be. Now, I do like to budget in advance for our bills. I don't like to budget on that payday for those specific bills because I do like to have just a little bit of a buffer. So I budget sometimes 1, 2, 3 paydays in advance for certain items just so that I can have that security of the money's in the account for when it comes due. And if for some reason we have a low paycheck or something like that, I have time to figure out what I need to do to cover those future expenses. So because of that, I do usually carry a roll forward. So at the beginning of the month, because I started saving last month for some of these bills, we had $24.50 in our roll forward. And then the other thing that we know for sure is that we're going to get some of our vehicles need to get maintenance done. They need oil changes and things like that. And I'm actually going to go to Denver this weekend. So when you see this video, I'm going to be driving from New Mexico up to Denver to go see my sister. So one of the things that I wanted to do before we go is I wanted to make sure that I got one of our vehicles oil changed for the vehicle that I'm going to take with me. So we do have an auto sinking fund, and so I transfer the money out of that auto sinking fund, or I will transfer that money out of the sinking fund when I know how much the oil change is going to be, because it's kind of not a newer vehicle. We just haven't changed the oil too many times yet because we don't drive a whole lot. We both work pretty close to home. So I don't really know what that oil change is going to be because I think last time I took both vehicles in at the same time, and then the time before that it was included in the purchase of the car. So I'm going to guesstimate $70, and then when we actually get the oil change, that's when I'll transfer the money over, and then that way I can be kind of more on target with what it's going to cost. So leading into our expenses, like I said, we're going to have that oil change. And then I budget every 2 weeks on my paydays to put $100 towards fuel. That gives us a little bit of a buffer in case for some reason we need to fill up multiple times during a single payday or whatever. But that $100 usually gets us pretty good. And then anything in excess of that money, I'm really hoping to kind of throw it back into our auto sinking fund. Since that's what it was designated for, I figured I won't really miss it if I kind of shoo it over into that savings account. The other thing that we have is our auto insurance. This does cover our boat, 3 vehicles, and something else. What else is on there? I guess it's just the boat and the 3 vehicles. So that is our monthly auto insurance payment that I budget for. Entertainment, we have Netflix and Spotify. So those are our 2 subscriptions. We don't have cable or anything like that. We actually swap user IDs, and then we share Netflix and Hulu between me and my sister. So we each kind of pay for one. And so that's what we budget for entertainment. Groceries, I'm going to try to shoot for $600 this month. $600 is really, really low for us, but we really needed a little bit more shopping money because we had some things come up. And like I said, we're trying to cash flow the rest of the jog fence, and then we had to buy a vacuum, and then we are also trying to switch from buying cigarettes at the gas station. Sadly, we picked up a bad habit at the end of last year, and so we're not quite ready to quit smoking. And instead of buying them at the gas station and spending several $100s a month, we're going to buy bulk supplies and just roll them ourselves, and then that should get us through my fall tax season so that then we can try to quit smoking after that deadline. So I did want some shopping money, so we wanted to go ahead and decrease our grocery budget to cover that. We do try to eat most of our meals from the house. We usually will take lunch to work unless we eat out. And then other than that, we do dinner and breakfast and things like that too. So $600 is going to be cutting it close for us, but I think we can do it if we keep our mind set, hopefully. Homeschool. I usually put at least $50 towards homeschool, whether it's going to be for savings or whatever. And right now I'm trying to get it to where instead of paying for some of the monthly subscriptions, like our online planner that I use, I pay for them annually. You usually do get a discount if you pay for them annually, and then I don't have to worry about budgeting for it every month. So this month I'm going to shoot for paying for the annual subscription on our online planner. Next month we'll probably try to do the subscription for the kids free time through Amazon, I think is what it's called, just to give them more books and things like that so that I don't have to buy them. We also have Kindle Unlimited, but my husband is a big reader, and so he hogs most of the books. I don't know why he thinks he needs to read 10 different books at a time, but whatever. So I figured between the two subscriptions, the free time wasn't very much. That would cover most of our book selections, and then hopefully we can get the rest from the library or just kind of here and there through Amazon on the Kindle. So that's what we're going to be doing this month anyway. Kids allowance. I have $20 saved over from last month, and then I'm going to put $20 in there this month. We're trying to get the kids to really help out around more around the house. We've had some issues with them being just a little wasteful and not caring for their stuff as much as I would like them to be, probably just regular kid stuff. But what we've been trying to do is we buy their necessities. I mean, that's not an issue, but my older daughter has grown a love for expensive things, and she's getting picky about certain things. So if they want anything different from what I normally buy, or if they're wanting a game or just general spending money so that they can go buy a toy, whatever, we're trying to teach them that they need to work hard and really help out around the house, because they don't get paid an allowance for doing their normal required chores like feeding the animals, picking up after themselves, things like that. They get an allowance for helping out and going above and beyond. So this last couple weeks, we had an issue where they just kept wanting to sneak away and sit down and play on their Kindles and not really help out around the house. So they have not actually received their allowance yet, but that is something that we're trying to work towards, and then they'll have to use their allowance for those extra things that they want. So those are the things that we're trying to do. We both work full time, and so it does take quite a bit to be able to keep up on everything over the weekend, and then to pick up after the 3 kids and all the animals and things like that. So hopefully that will be a motivation tool to really get them to think and really help out. So that's kind of our thought process there. Life insurance, I do pay for a life insurance policy. I have decreased that budget a little bit. I was budgeting $55, and that was actually quite a bit more. And I'm trying to kind of allow for a little more spending money. So I went through and I decreased the budget on that one. Medical, we are going to have some medical come up. Every 3 months, I do go into the doctor. I have been doing kind of a hormone therapy replacement thing. If you didn't know, I did have a hysterectomy about 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years this fall, this winter, I guess. I had it done in November. And so I have been going in and doing that. My husband also does therapy. They're still doing the teletherapy and things like that. So I don't know if he's really doing it bi-weekly, if he's doing it monthly, whatever. But because he does do the teletherapy, then he's got to get a hold of the billing office, and the billing office has to get a hold of him to do payment and things like that. So we're going to have a little bit of that come up this month as well. And actually, Now that I look at this, I miswrote that. I'm going to have to change it because it's supposed to be 500. No, never mind. 530 should be good. And I did budget for the prescription item in there. So I think we're good there. There's our mortgage payment. Pets. We do have 4 dogs and 3 cats and fish. So I did budget $85 this month because we are going to need some more cat food. I have most of it auto shipped from Chewy.com just to make it easier for me. But that's what we're going to budget for this month because we do need to buy more cat food. Shopping, like I said, we're trying to cash flow more of our shopping. And so we went through and we kind of reassessed the budget. I had just little areas kind of earmarked all over the place between buffer savings and debt savings that I hadn't transferred into the actual debt savings account and things like that because I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and what the next thing I wanted to pay off was. So in order to kind of cover our extra spending, we went through, we consolidated all that, we set an actual budget amount or a buffer amount in each one of our checking accounts. And so we went ahead and put $730 over to be able to cover the vacuum, the rest of the supplies that we needed for the fence, as well as those supplies that we're going to buy to stock up for rolling cigarettes and things like that. So we're not constantly going to the gas station to buy them because that was really expensive. If you have not checked out my June and July budget and saw how much we were spending on shopping, like it was just ridiculous. I could have paid off a whole nother account or two with how much we were spending. So it was really, really crazy. Telephone, we budgeted $370. I actually just got the bill. And for some reason, I don't know how it dropped so much. I did change it so instead of it auto paying on the credit card so that I can get the rewards from it to coming out of the bank account because they gave me a $20 discount for that. The other thing that we had was for some reason, like it just dropped. It was $360 something last month, and it was hovering right around $375. So I don't know what caused it to drop a little bit, but hey, if it's going to drop, that'll be great. So the new bill was actually only $325. So I'm going to continue to budget for the $370 until I see if they just kind of gave me a perk for switching it over late last month and they didn't give me the perk on that month. I don't know. I just want to make sure that that's really going to be the phone bill. The phone bill is a little high. We do have 4 lines on them. They have unlimited everything on there because every now and again we do have to use our phones as hotspots. So that is really nice to have if we need it. And then the other thing we do have on there is 2 iPhones. We are paying for 2 iPhones that we got last year. And so hopefully we'll have those ones paid off in the next couple months because they don't have interest on them. They're not really quite on my priority list other than the payments, almost $50 each. So it would be nice to get those out of the way. So that is why our phone bill is so high. Utilities, that is our gas, water, electric, and internet. It should be about $405. I usually budget a little high on the gas and kind of in the medium range on the electric, and then that way as one goes down and the other one goes up, we can usually stay within our normal budget. We do have refrigerated air, so this time of the year our electric bill really starts to go up. I don't know exactly what causes it to go up other than it is getting really hot. We do live in New Mexico, so it's really hot, dry heat. But that's what I usually budget for utilities. We are only paying on 1 student loan right now, so that's for my small UHEA loan. We do have 2 auto loans, so that is the minimum payment that I have on auto pay for both loans. And like I said, we are trying to establish a little bit of spending money. So I did open up a new account for my husband, and I transferred the money over into a separate little checking account that he can have all for himself. And then we will be going through the credit cards. I've seen some extra spending on the credit card, so we're going to try to go through all of the accounts that we use, like Amazon, Audible, Walmart, things like that, and try to unlink all of the other cards off of those accounts. That way they can't even be accidentally used, because I had one of those pop up this month that I wasn't aware of. And so we're really just trying to get it to where nothing is linked to them except the one rewards card that we do use, as well as our debit cards. And then I'm not going to put anything in there for unbudgeted, but I did want a line in there just in case there's something else that comes up that I haven't encountered yet. But that's where we're at with our expenses. So all together, we're budgeting $49.90 for actual expenses. Auto fund, I'm not going to budget anything in here, but if we do have any underspending on our auto expenses throughout the month, I am hoping to transfer that over into our savings account specifically for auto fund. So that's why I put that line on there. And same thing with debt savings. I'm not necessarily budgeting for that, but because I like to budget in fives just to make it easier for me to add things up and kind of split the paycheck out, as the bills come through, I usually do it weekly. I'll go through and figure out how much we were under budget and figure out what that budget variance is. And then I like to transfer that into a separate savings account because usually it's just a little bit of money. And then as that kind of builds up, that's when I'll try to apply it to something. So actually at the beginning of the month, we were able to make an extra $214 payment onto that Capital One account. And that's all just from budget variances from last month. So it was really great to kind of find those extra, find that extra money just within your own budget by making sure you're intentional with the money, moving it over because you'd already budgeted for it. So that is what I'm trying to do. Like I said, we are trying to also contribute $200 to our emergency fund. That would get us up to $700 this month. And next month, we'll probably fully fund that. And then that way we can have a full $1,000. And then I think that at the end of the month, we'll end up with $1,650 left over to cover bills for the following month. So that is all of our income and expenses. So let me go ahead and bring over our debt. And like I said, we do have a ton of debt if you haven't watched that video yet. I do like to list them all out individually because it is seeing those individual items. I like to know if I'm over budget, how far over budget, if I was under budget on my payments, and that way I can readjust the budget if needed. I don't mind being slightly over budget on those because that's where I like to find the extra money in our budget to try and contribute a little more to our bills. I have most of these, if not all of these, on auto pay for their minimum amounts. Whether they are on auto pay through their specific online login, or if I can't do it through their login, I do the bill pay, and then they will still allow me to auto pay that over to them on a regular basis. So that's what I do. And so I do budget in fives for those. And then if it comes out a little different, then I transfer that over into our little debt savings. And then at the end of the month, or, whenever it kind of builds up enough, that's when I finally make a payment onto something. So most of these are going to be minimum payments. The Capital One Visa account is the one that we are trying to pay off. So at the end of last month, we ended up with a balance just a little over $700 by the time we did the fence and what else? We did the fence and something else. Or maybe we got part of the fence supplies. Oh no, it was just a little over $700 for the fence, and then I needed to transfer money over for the utilities, and I was having computer issues, so I didn't get all that done. So that's what I'm budgeting so that we can pay that card off. Everything else down here is going to be minimum payments. And then the Affirm 4 loan, I think it's going to be about $410 to finish paying that one off. Hopefully just a little under that. And then that will pay off 2 more debts. And that will save us an $80 budget item for that Capital One account that I've been trying to pay off, because I did kind of roll over what we were spending on the other card that we paid off when we did do the balance transfer into the minimum payment there. And then the Affirm 4 loan, I want to say, is like $46 or something like that. So that's going to be a little over $100 if we can save those 2 items. Save those 2 items back and get them paid off. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So altogether, we will have total debt payments for $2,250. And then I don't have any notes over here yet because I really haven't had anything come up that I need to deal with for next month. But that is our crazy budget. Like I said, we do have a lot going on. Let me just see if I can move that in so that you can see it a little better and all up close. But that is how I like to set up my budget. We do also, I put my paycheck tracker on the back, and then I do a separate paycheck budget for each week. And so if I know that the paycheck's going to be a little more, I will adjust for the budget as needed as things come up, because we do try to cover any of those wanted expenses, things like that, out of the extra money overtime, those kind of things. So that's where I'm tracking all of that. But I think we've got it all set up, and I'm ready to see how this month turns out. So if you stuck around for this whole video, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button. Let me know if you liked the video, and if you have any suggestions, leave them down below. I would love to hear if you have any other ways of trying to find extra money in your budget. That's just something I've always tried to do. My mom actually taught me that. When she puts things in her check register, she uses Quicken. She always actually bumps them up to like $5, $10, whatever. She bumps the paychecks down, and then at the end of the month when she goes through and reconciles it, she changes all the numbers, and then she usually finds a couple $100. So that works pretty well for her, and so that's kind of where I got the idea. Other than I don't like to put it in there and then go back and change it. That just seems to take too much time. So I just try to transfer the money over as soon as I notice that it's less than what I was going for, which is the nice thing about YNAB, because then it'll tell me how much I have left over, and I can just easily like shift that money down to that next budget account. So, but thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you did like it, please leave me a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. And we will see you next time. The next video should be our June debt snowball update. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, have a good one. Bye.